Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Victor, and I am Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at Stealth, the online TOEFL course, the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT, and you have also paid for the additional service to have me go over your essay. So what I want to do right now, I'm going to do a few things here. First of all, I want to error correct the essay first. Let's just take a look at any possible word choice problems, punctuation issues, typos, things of that nature, sentence structure formation issues. We'll try to go through all of that first. Secondly, let's take a look at the development and organization of the essay. And then maybe at the end, I want to give you a score, and I'll probably make some recommendations so we can kind of see what your score is and why. So first of all, let's take a look at the topic. So as it says, some people think government should spend as much money as possible during outer space, for example, traveling to the moon or to other planets. Other people disagree and think governments should spend this money for our basic needs on Earth. Which of these two opinions do you agree with? Use specific reasons and details to support your answer. So you say exploring the space. Usually we just say something like this, maybe. Exploring outer space and investing a lot of money in going to other planets have been controversial topics. You say long time ago doesn't really work that way. If you say long time ago, then you'd have to say were controversial topics a long time ago. So here's what you have to do here. Either say were, or if you say have been, you could say have been controversial topics for a long time. So once you put a go in there, it's indicating an action that has a beginning and end. And you would probably want to use the simple past in that case and not the present perfect, which you're using right now. So if we say for a long time, then I think the present perfect tense will work. You say, see, here's another possible problem here. You see, this might be because there are some good reasons to support each opinion. So I think you need to discuss both of your topics here because you're saying each opinion. The opinions are spending money to explore outer space or spending the money for basic needs on Earth. So maybe this. Let's cut this, make a change here. So we'll say investing a lot of money how about to explore outer space I want to say here other planets, not other planets. So investing a lot of money to explore outer space and to go to other planets. Let's say, I'm going to get rid of this because it says outer space. You don't necessarily have to talk about other planets here. What you want to do is frame what the debate is. There's two possible topics here. Investing money to explore outer space, to spend money I think this is going to work better the way you have it written. So investing a lot of money to explore outer space and to spend money on the basic needs of people on Earth have been controversial topics for a long time. Now we're going to combine these two sentences to avoid your shorter sentence there. And we don't want to say this might be because. You might say because there are some good. Don't need to put S here. Adjectives, Victor, typically in Spanish and Portuguese, yes. You put S's on adjectives, but in English you do not. So you might want to write that down as a rule you want to remember. So there are some good reasons to support each opinion. All right, let's go back to that beginning sentence again. Investing a lot of money to explore outer space and to spend money on the basic needs of people on Earth have been controversial topics for a long time because there are some good reasons. Let's make it even more concise. Because good reasons support each opinion. What did I do there? I'm making your sentence less wordy. I combine the two sentences to give you a little bit more complex sentence style, and then I'm even eliminating unnecessary words as we go. You say, personally, we should choose other priorities rather than go to the moon or to explore space. Why? I like how you did that. Let's just say, keep it like this. So first, there are instead of there are many, just say this. More important problems First, more important problems on Earth have to be solved prior prior to allocating money for space exploration? And second, I think we got it. So let's take a look at this one more time. Now what I'm doing is I'm trying to add, to be honest with you, your vocabulary is a little bit simple. So I'm trying to put more words in there to give you a little bit better word choice. So investing a lot of money to explore outer space and to spend money on the basic needs of people on Earth have been controversial topics for a long time because good reasons support each opinion. Personally, we should choose other priorities rather than go to the moon or to explore space. Why? First, more important problems on Earth have to be solved prior to allocating money for space exploration. And second, earmarking funds for space exploration is a huge investment, but the advantages of this research are not really clear. So your thesis is, it gives you the purpose, I think, of your body paragraphs 2 and 3. So you have a fairly, I think, specific thesis. So I think you're going in the right direction. I did make a few changes with your word choice, but still I think you're going in the right direction here. Okay, so let's take a look at your second paragraph. Now this is where you could run into some trouble, I'll be honest with you. You bring up a lot of ideas, but you have to explain how the money can help solve the problems that countries have, but I think you're bringing up too many different things. So you're talking about hunger, first of all, right? Which is a major idea. That's a very big problem. You also have the actual economic crisis and the high unemployment rate. That's a second problem that we have in countries. And you have another thing you mentioned, which is civil wars. And you say countries are not working well, which means many people suffer the consequences. So I think it would be better if you simply focus on one specific idea. I think the hunger idea is a great idea, and then you can show how the money can be beneficial in solving the hunger problem. So you're kind of getting into now what's called a cause-effect type relationship that you want to do, and you want to make sure that you don't talk about too many different things, because you will not be able to convincingly convince your audience that your argument is a valid argument. So I think you might want to focus simply here on the hunger idea. So let's say this idea, the hunger idea is a good idea, right? Which means everything else I want to get rid of, and what we want to do now is to really develop this idea. So what you do here is you need a little bit better topic sentence, which, remember that your thesis is a little bit general, which I'm going to say, okay, I'll let you get away with that. But once you get to that topic sentence in that second paragraph, you need to be a lot more specific in how you frame the paragraph. So you say, first of all, so if we deprioritize spending on space exploration, governments can use those you might say. So let's take a look at the topic sentence. Say, if we deprioritize spending on space exploration, governments can use those additional funds to fight against the war on hunger and poverty. You might put something like, for example, even in developed countries like the United States. I'm going to just use this as an example because, remember, you're drawing from your personal experience. You say many countries, that's not a good strategy because that's too broad. You want to focus on a specific country here. So, for example, even in developed countries like the United States, you can say a significant percentage of people live below the poverty index. Now, you say puberty index, your computer gave you the wrong word. I'm going to be honest with you. Puberty is a totally different word. You can look it up in the dictionary. You want to use the word poverty here. So you say a significant percentage of people live below the poverty index. So you say in Detroit, Michigan, once a thriving automobile industry, they cannot provide and you say instead of spending money on space exploration, so the government could set up hunger shelters in Detroit and other cities around the U.S. so that I think we got it. Okay, let's see what we wrote so far. So remember that this is really, when I'm going over your essay, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to show you how you can focus and develop your ideas. You've got to be as specific as you can. Now, you could have put India, you could have put Russia, you could have put China, Taiwan, you could have mentioned Brazil, Mexico. It doesn't matter. The point is, don't talk about things in a general sense. Try to be more specific in the ideas that you're using. That always will strengthen, I think, the writing that you're doing and the arguments you're making. That's going to help you get a much, much higher score on the TOEFL IBT exam. So let's see what we've written so far. We say first, if we deprioritize spending on space exploration, governments can use those additional funds to fight against the war on hunger and poverty. For example, even in developed countries like the United States of America, a significant percentage of people live below the poverty index. In Detroit, Michigan, once a thriving automobile industry, how about, I think I should say here, industrial city, many of its residents are so poor that they cannot provide food and nutrition. Maybe for is better, provide for. Instead of spending money on space exploration, the government could set up hunger shelters in Detroit and other cities around the U.S. so that these citizens can have food and other basic necessities. I think you want to say here, at least until they can get, I'm going to say, not they get new jobs and start earning maybe living wages. I'm going to say, instead of saying poverty, let's just deal with hunger in this particular, and that makes it even more specific. So we're going to have to get rid of this. I hate to do it, but again, you have too many general statements, not enough specific details in that paragraph. So I'm trying to strengthen that particular paragraph. Now we also want to take a look at our word count. I think you're fine though with your word count. You have enough words in there, you're just not being specific enough. But let me just take a word count right now. Let's see how we're doing. So we are, oh yeah, we're fine. You're way more than you need. You're 458 words. So I think you're starting to kind of get the picture. It's not, you can say a lot of things, but not say enough. Even though you've written 450 words, you're still not being specific enough. So let's take a look at this paragraph one more time before we go to the next one. Say first, if we deprioritize spending on space exploration, governments can use those additional funds to fight against the war on hunger. For example, even in developed countries like the United States of America, a significant percentage of people live below the poverty index. And thus, I think this is important to put in there because the main thing that we're doing here is we're talking about hunger, right? Not just poverty. So a significant percentage of people live below the poverty index and thus suffer from hunger. In Detroit, Michigan, once a thriving automobile industrial city, many of its residents are so poor that they cannot provide food and nutrition for their children. Instead of spending money on space exploration, the government could set up hunger shelters in Detroit and other cities around the U.S. so that these citizens can have food and other basic necessities, at least until they can get new jobs and start earning living wages. Okay, I think we have this second paragraph doing a little bit more specific. All right, so we get into your third paragraph, and we have to go back to the idea here. The advantages of this research are not really clear. I don't know if you have... I think there's two possible things you can do with this paragraph. You're probably trying to take on too many things again, like you did in the previous paragraph. You're saying that the advantages are not really clear, but you're also saying that it's not worth the investment. The money that we put into traveling or space exploration, we don't really get that money back in the benefits, right? So the first one says are not clear enough. It's really difficult. That's a very unclear idea. It doesn't focus a lot. But once you talk about the money you're spending and it's not a worthwhile investment money-wise, I think you can probably do with that. So I think we need to get rid of one of these points here. So we'll say earmarking funds for space exploration is a huge investment, but I think this is probably the better idea here, but the benefits do not outweigh the costs of space travel. We'll say something like this, is not cost effective. And we're just going to focus on the cost and the money aspects of space travel. We're not going to focus on this idea of clear, because that's just not a great way to organize this particular paragraph. So I'm going to get rid of some of this. Okay, watch what I'm going to do here closely. I think we can work with this idea here. So you say, if we consider the amount of money, you say here, I'm going to say that if we consider the amount of money that we have to invest to be traveling around other planets, such as Mars, how about Jupiter, Saturn, or Neptune, I'm going to, instead of if, say we should consider the amount of money that we have to invest to be traveling to other planets such as Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, or Neptune. Let's do the many thing to the moon. So what I'm going to do is just focus on that one idea, and the whole paragraph, let's say there's 150 or 100 words to this paragraph, it's all focusing on the money. You see, for instance, in the United States, the National Aeronautics Space Association, NASA, planets. What we want to focus on here is the money. Let me read it again. This will give me some ideas here. Second, we should stay focused on solving problems here on Earth because space travel Space travel exploration is not cost effective. We should consider the amount of money that we have to invest to be traveling to other planets, such as Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, or Neptune. For instance, in the United States, the National Aeronautics Space Association, NASA, has sent at least one manned flight to the moon and has sent several manned and unmanned trips to explore other planets. Each trip costs millions and millions of dollars. So now we're getting into the money aspect thing again, and of course, you're trying to argue that the costs do not outweigh the benefits, right? Then you might say, you might want to say, what is the benefit we'll say United States scaled back Okay, let's take a look at this paragraph one more time. So we say, second, we should stay focused on solving problems here on Earth because space travel exploration is not cost effective. We should consider the amount of money that we have to invest to be traveling to other planets such as Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, or Neptune. For instance, in the United States, the National Aeronautics Space Association, NASA, has sent at least one manned flight to the moon and has sent several unmanned trips to explore other planets. Each trip costs millions and millions of dollars, so if you consider that NASA has been exploring outer space for decades now, that the combined cost of all these trips is probably I'm going to say the combined costs of all these trips are probably in the billions and billions of dollars. What is the benefit of all these trips? Have we discovered life on other planets? Have we found a cure? I should put here for. Have we found a cure for cancer and other terminal diseases? No, we have not. So we have to conclude that the benefits of space exploration are not greater than its costs. This money can be better spent by trying to fight hunger and poverty right here in the United States. It is no wonder that the United States has scaled back its space exploration programs, even canceling all future space shuttle trips. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the first and second thing here because I need to. This third paragraph is a little bit fat. So I'm going to say this. And I'll tell you why I'm doing this. If you say first and second, I do another paragraph, it forces me to say third, but I don't want to say third here because I'm not doing a third point. I'm simply adding to a previous idea. So I'm going to just get rid of this. That's probably a better way to do it. Okay, let's take a look at what we have now. Okay, let's go to your. the interesting things we have, not been serious. Most, see here, you just have too many different ideas here. You're not specific enough. So I'm going to get rid of that. Let's go to your final paragraph to sum up. Get rid of that. Just say, to sum up, traveling to the moon and other planets is interesting. Don't even need this word, really. If you say but, you don't have to use on the other hand. Well, I think you've used but before. Let's give you a semicolon here and then say, traveling to the moon and other planets is interesting. On the other hand, we have to prioritize certain affairs over these. Don't need a comma here. In order to maximize our resources. So that we can solve more important problems such as hunger in the world. You may say something like this. Maybe discontinuing. Okay, so lastly, the discontinuing of the U.S. Space Shuttle program is a striking reminder that the monetary benefits of space exploration do not Okay, I think we have it pretty much now. So the conclusion, you're doing okay with the conclusion, but I had to kind of restructure some of your ideas and reorganize things just a little bit. I think we're in pretty good shape now. Let's look at the conclusion one more time. To sum up, traveling to the moon and other planets is interesting. On the other hand, we have to prioritize certain affairs over these in order to maximize our resources so that, you need a subject here, we can solve more important problems such as hunger in the world. Probably don't have to say lastly there because you said to sum up. The discontinuing of the U.S. Space Shuttle program is a striking reminder that the monetary benefits of space exploration do not outweigh the cost. Simply put, it was not a worthwhile investment for the U.S. So simply put, spending staggering amounts of money on space exploration was not a worthwhile investment for the United States government. Or it would have not ended its space shuttle program. Now we don't have to worry about that. That's a little bit wordy. All right, let's do a spell check from the top. Deprioritize. I'm pretty sure that's a word, but we might have to put a hyphen in there. So ignore that. Detroit. Okay, I think we're getting there. We got to go through it one more time. Investing a lot of money to explore outer space and to spend money on the basic needs of people on Earth have been controversial topics for a long time because good reasons support each opinion. Personally, we should choose other priorities rather than go to the moon or to explore space. Why? First, more important problems on Earth have to be solved prior to allocating money for space exploration. And second, earmarking funds for space exploration is a huge investment, but the benefits do not outweigh the cost of space travel. If we deprioritize spending on space exploration, governments can use those additional funds to fight against the war on hunger. For example, even in developed countries like the United States of America, a significant percentage of people live below the poverty index and thus suffer from hunger. In Detroit, Michigan, once a thriving automobile industry, many of its residents are so poor that they cannot provide food and nutrition for their children. Instead, how about this? Let's give this a cause effect. Therefore, instead of spending money on space exploration, the government could set up hunger shelters in Detroit and other cities around the U.S. so that these citizens can have food and other basic necessities, at least until they can get new jobs and start earning living wages. How about this? Maybe say furthermore. Furthermore, we should stay focused on solving problems here on Earth because space travel exploration is not cost effective. We should consider the amount of money that we have to invest to be traveling to other planets such as Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, or Neptune. For instance, in the United States, the National Aeronautics Space Association, NASA, has sent at least one manned flight to the moon and has sent several unmanned trips to explore other planets. And they did do Mars, I know. You say, moreover, each trip costs millions and millions of dollars. So, if you consider that NASA has been exploring outer space for decades now, the combined costs of all these trips are probably in the billions and billions of dollars. What is the benefit of all these trips? Have we discovered life on other planets? Have we found a cure for cancer and other terminal diseases? No, we have not. So we have to conclude that the benefits of space exploration are not greater than its cost. This money can be better spent by trying to fight hunger and poverty right here in the United States. It is no wonder that the United States has scaled back its space exploration programs, even canceling all future space shuttle trips because these trips are too costly. To sum up, traveling to the moon and to other planets is interesting. On the other hand, we have to prioritize certain affairs over these in order to maximize our resources so that we can solve more important problems such as hunger in the world. The discontinuing of the U.S. Space Shuttle program is a striking reminder that the monetary benefits of space exploration do not outweigh the costs. Simply put, spending staggering amounts of money on space exploration was not a worthwhile investment for the U.S. government. All right, so what I did is I took your essay and I rewrote it. I changed some things. I made it a little more specific and to show you how to take what you have to get all the way to 5.5 out of 5 or 30 points out of 30. Now, the main thing is, excuse me, how would your essay score now? And it's not that you have a terrible essay. Let's take a look at what you have. Okay, if you want to score 25 points or higher, your essay is generally well organized and well developed with clear explanation of ideas with sufficient details and examples. I think that you had a very strong organization of ideas. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think that your details, you talked about too many big ideas in body paragraphs 2 and 3. So I think you will score lower than this area. I think you're going to be in the 3 range. So here you address a topic using somewhat developed explanations, examples, and details. Your essay has unity, progression, and coherence. However, sometimes it's difficult to understand the connection. No, I understand exactly how you're connecting your ideas, but in terms of coherence, I think what's killing you right now is what's called progression. Progression means is you take a main idea, a key point, and then you give a lot of smaller points in support of that. You didn't really do that in your body paragraphs 2 and 3. You had a lot of bigger ideas with no specific details for those big ideas. So I think you're having some problems with progression and also in terms of developing your ideas. I think that I don't think you had too many grammar problems. You understand how to put together a sentence, right? There's no doubt about that. But as I said, you can probably do a little bit better with your vocabulary usage. So you're a little bit limited with your vocabulary. So I think that you will score between 3.5 and 3.7 on this particular essay that you wrote. So let's just say I'm going to put you at 3.5 out of 5 or 22 points out of 30 on this particular essay. The main reason is you need to focus more, right? So what I would say is, if I gave you some suggestions, I would say limit your focus. Let's make this a little bit bigger here. Yeah, limit your focus. And what I'm saying is each paragraph should focus on one key idea and then give examples to illustrate that point. I think that's probably one of the main things that you can probably work on. So each paragraph should focus on one key idea and then give examples to illustrate that point or that key idea. Also, you need to use more college level vocabulary, so I think that's important too. So in the vocabulary area, I would suggest go to the vocabulary part of my course. I think you can benefit by going through vocabulary lesson number 4, number 5, and number 6. Now, also the problem is you have to be fairly informed. I mean, when I was talking about space, I used my own knowledge of what's called NASA, the National Aeronautics Space Administration. I used my knowledge of NASA to help me develop some of my key points. I also had to have some knowledge of Detroit. I had to know that Detroit was an automobile city, that Detroit has been in the news right now. They're actually going bankrupt as a city, and there's a lot of people suffering there in poverty. So you have to have a cultural awareness, I think. And the good thing is you don't have to talk about examples in the United States. I chose the United States because that's what my personal experience is. You could have discussed a city in India. You could have talked about Moscow, Beijing, China, whatever. But it's important to be more specific as you illustrate the ideas that you're trying to say. So the good news is you don't have a lot of grammatical issues. I mean, I made a few corrections here or there, but I think that you just need to focus and limit what you say. Try to personalize your writing a little bit more. For example, if you look in the second paragraph here, I did use, where was it? I used United States, which is not just countries in general like what you did, but I talked about the United States. Then I gave the example of Detroit, Michigan. And I used that to help illustrate the point that there's a lot of hungry people even here in the United States. Now, when I talked about the space exploration thing, it actually took me 2 paragraphs to develop this idea. So I brought up the example of NASA, right? And I talked about sending a manned flight to the moon and unmanned trips to explore other planets, such as Mars. And then I even talked about specific amounts of money. I talked about millions and millions of dollars for just one trip. And then I speculated and said, well, maybe all the trips combined cost billions and billions of dollars. And then I talked about the benefit of the trips and so on. So I tried to be more specific. That's what you got to do. You really need to do that. That's going to really, really help your writing. It strengthens your argument by being more specific. All right, so Victor, thank you for sending me your writing. And I hope in this video I've given you some good ideas on how you can develop and strengthen your independent writing for the TOEFL IBT exam. The main thing for you is you need a little bit better vocabulary, and you need to be much, much more specific in how you explain your ideas in those body paragraphs. What you do well, you understand how to organize ideas. You have very good control, I think, of your sentence formation and your grammar, but you just need to be more specific in the ideas that you're using. All right, thank you very much, and happy holidays and a Merry Christmas to you.